Was I gone long? No? Okay. Any rate, we are back. Let's snag another call here. John in...
Who was that?
Who was that, Mr. Producer?
Hi, this was John from Syracuse.
Oh, no, this is John from Syracuse.
No. I'm talking about who was giving that speech.
Oh, I don't know. It is not identified. It is on republicbroadcasting.org. It does not give the man's name, but you can click on it. It's first up on the video section on the main page. I don't know who he is, Robbie, but it was pretty powerful, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I love these wolf analogies.
Yeah, I do, too. My goodness. Anyhow, John in New York. Hello, John.
Hey, hi, Mr. Statmiller.
Yes.
And Rob and Robert. I've got a question for Mr. Chapman.
Okay.
He's Mr. Chapman, too, because he's an older fellow. Bob, how are you?
I am fine, thank you, for an elderly fellow.
Sir, I'm about your age. I was born on the 3rd of July in 1937.
Well, you're 2 years younger than I.
Just about, yeah. But I'm getting up there, Bob, I'll tell you. I know how you
Well,
feel.
I hope you're feeling fine and you're healthy.
Well, wait a minute
Well,
here. John, hold on a second here. I've got to combine between the both of you 140 years, but you sound like you're a couple of kids.
Yeah, well, I feel like a
thank
kid,
you
but I
very
can't
much.
get it up anymore, John.
Well,
That's for another program.
yes.
That's another program,
yes,
right.
yeah.
Bob, I heard an interesting thing today about the world's most secure currency, and I was surprised to find out it was the rand. It was South Africa, and that's... Hello, are you still there?
Still here.
Okay, I heard it hang up. Click. Yeah, the rand was 8.23 to the dollar. I read about it on what really happened today. And I wondered what you thought. Now, I've got a little bit of a nest egg. It's not very much, but I'd like to protect it just the same. And would it be safe to invest in a currency like the rand, Bob?
No.
No,
I lived in South Africa, just like Rob did, and Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe.
Mm-hmm.
And I would prefer to see you buy gold and silver coins.
I have
you
some
shouldn't
of
be
that.
speculating
I
in
think I've got
currency.
enough. I've got about 30% of what I own into that already. I have some silver.
Well, that just shows you how wrong you are. You should have more.
Yeah, I've got cash, which is more so though. It's I'm a little heavy in cash, and I'm worried about what's going to happen to the dollar.
Well, get some gold shares. I mean, Robbie knows all about that.
Yeah, Coeur d'Alene mine.
We
Oh, you got to be kidding me. A 1 for 10 reverse split, Agnico Eagle, Gold Corp, Silver Standard, and Mine Finders. All of them fine companies. Take your choice.
Well,
I think that'd be the way to go with the cash.
And John and Bob, you know this. This is Robbie's segue into, well, call me at 800-691-7890 and take some of that cash you got laying around and convert it to a little bit more gold.
I will.
Now, wait a minute, John. Not only is that a good idea, but young man, are you a subscriber to the International Forecaster?
I am not, Bob. I'm unhappy to
Well,
say.
there's your chance to get a free subscription that John and Robbie are willing to pay for, and they do pay for it, in order for you to get a subscription. All you have to do is go in and buy 5 of those coins. The Austro-Hungarians.
Mm-hmm.
Robbie,
Look,
is...
I mean, the main reason for wanting to own gold in this financial world that we're in is the need to take out of the equation that counterparty risk. Mm-hmm. In other words, when you hold physical gold and silver in your hands, nobody is going to come and take it away from you because somebody.
Yeah, but I'm worried about going to Wegmans supermarket and giving them, a British sovereign.
Yeah, I mean, that'll never happen. I mean, if you can't walk into a bank and hand a woman a $50 gold piece and she can tell you what its value is, you don't expect to walk into a grocery store and hand them a $50 gold piece and expect them to know what the value is.
Exactly. That's my concern, actually, with what...
Well, that's not going to happen. Because less than 1% of Americans own physical gold and silver. We're never going to come to a point where convenience stores and grocery stores are going to accept gold and silver as the only means of exchange.
But if I want to have medium of exchange, I have to call you, don't I, Rob?
Well, sure. I mean, all you're
sell you some money, sell you some of my gold.
With gold, it's an insurance policy. You're insuring yourself against loss of purchasing power from the fiat currency. This is not rocket
exactly
science.
how I look
this
at
is very basic. And if you need Federal Reserve notes in order to conclude a transaction, all you do is you take your gold down to a gold dealer, and he will exchange it for Federal Reserve notes every day until the cows come home.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, John, the question has always been asked, well, my goodness, what am I going to do with an ounce of gold? Well, it's always going to be convertible to a currency. And Robbie is right. I have yet to see, and by the way, only do this in cash. When you get down to a coin shop, you cash in some gold or you silver. Do it in cash. Have them give you back the cash. And it is always going to be convertible. But this is the only way. This is the only way. If you got too many dollars sitting around right now, I can hear the clock ticking on the devaluation. Gee, how much did you just lose in the last 20 seconds?
That's what's got me on edge, too, John.
Yeah, and the only thing that we know, and if I was doing something else to save people's financial assets, I would be doing that as well, but this is the only way to do it.
Mm-hmm. So you say the solution then, Bob, is gold stocks, huh? Gold and silver stocks?
Well, that's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
But bear in mind, and I got to throw this disclaimer in here. Let's say Luis Yamada is correct, and let's say the Dow is going to 600, and say the S&P is going to 600. Mm-hmm. In declining markets, everything takes a hit. Mm-hmm. Because people obviously will need to raise cash in order to make margin calls. And when it comes time for margin calls, they don't discriminate between their good stocks and their bad stocks.
Anything that'll bring them money.
Sure. So, you've always got to bear that in mind when it comes to stocks of any sort.
So if I purchase them, I can expect a little downgrade on them too, right?
Well, if we are going to see, obviously, the inevitable free fall of this market, and nobody can predict when that's going to happen, but we know one thing for sure, it is going to happen when the reality meets the road. But that's obviously something that maybe Bob can address. This is...
Well, look at it this way. Let's say gold goes to 1,000 again here, 1,035, and you buy Agnico tomorrow. Agnico Eagle tomorrow at 57, and the stock goes back up to 83.5 where it was. And let's say the market quickly drops from 8,500 to 6,600. Agnico could come off 10 or 15 points, but that's it. And the minute the market stops going down, even temporarily, it's going to turn around and run back up again. We're not going to see the deleveraging this time that we saw this past year because most of it's been done.
And you won't see those stocks end up in the dumpster.
No, because they got real...
No, they'll hold up pretty good.
You scare me, though, Robbie, when you say that the solid mining companies, the stock is depreciating. It's going down.
No. What I said, in a declining market, when people need to raise cash in order to meet margin calls, they don't discriminate with what stocks they sell. They sell the good ones and they sell the bad ones. Their need is to raise cash.
But you have said...
we saw this last year when hedge funds had to obviously raise funds to meet redemptions. The miners were devastated, and there's no reason for them to have been devastated. Mm-hmm. And it was just a simple need for people to raise cash. You got to understand, when people need to raise cash, they go to the asset that is the most liquid on the planet.
Sure.
And the most liquid asset on the planet is gold and silver. Mm-hmm. And mining stocks, because they have real assets that back up their prices. So in declining markets, sure, everything takes a hit. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I don't know, maybe Bob can slap me around on that one.
Well, last year was unusual. And so if anything, you might see a temporary, as I pointed out, 10 or 15 point reduction in the price, but you're not going to see more than that because we're not going to get the deleveraging this year or next year that we had last year. And so it was a one-time event. It was a one-time event that the dollar, under the same circumstances, ran up from 71.16 to 89.50. It should have never happened, but it did, and it won't happen that way again.
Yeah, but you men know there will always be manipulation.
Well, that's in every market today.
The powers that be are going to juggle these, whether it be the price of gold or silver or the value of the dollar or whatever the hell it's going to be. There's manipulation, and these people have power, and these people have a hell of a lot of money. So you've got to expect a